Okay, it's time to wrap up with our first day, but before we do it, let's jump into our last presentation for today and discover the industry that obviously was the winner during the pandemic times, e-commerce, and how it could be shaped with the AI. For that, I want to invite our last speaker, Viktoras Jucikas. Viktoras is a founder and CTO at YPlan, an award-winning mobile e-commerce platform backed by Ashton Kutcher, Pharrell Williams, General Catalyst, and others. He is also an executive director, quant at Goldman Sachs. Viktoras is focused on quantitative methods of exotic derivative pricing and risk manager. With a round of your virtual applause, let's invite Viktoras on stage with the presentation E-commerce Future is AI.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for a kind introduction. It is a pleasure to be here and tell you a little about AI and its usage in e-commerce. I came back to Lithuania after 17 years abroad, after finishing my master's actually in AI and machine learning back in late 90s, early 2000s, and have built a team of top engineers, data scientists, and product people here in Vilnius, Lithuania. I keep telling the story that Lithuania has very strong roots in technology and AI, and it's not a coincidence that Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania, was actually discovered or founded after Grand Duke Gediminas heard what he described an iron wolf shouting at the top of the hill. As we now know, it was actually a mechanical iron robot. The roots of technology and robotics are very, very deep in Lithuania, and I'm very glad to be here and have a team of top world-class engineers and data scientists helping us to build AI for e-commerce. This is the topic what I wanted to cover in a little bit more detail today, and I wanted to start with a quick set of challenges which small brands are facing these days. CookUnity is a brand which is delivering ready-made, chef-made meals to customers in big cities in the United States. They are scaling this business by using digital channels and run into the following problems. Creating image or video ads which are successful is actually very hard. Running efficient growth campaigns requires deep experience in marketing, in digital marketing and analytics, and these people are either expensive to hire and or even difficult to find. Lastly, modeling and reaching target audiences requires relatively in-depth data science understanding. And I think the average data scientist salary in the United States topped $100,000 annually last year. So what should CookUnity do in this case? Being a small, nimble, and fast-growing brand, how could it reach its growth objectives and effectively acquire new customers? We see that during and post-COVID-19 and during COVID-19, CookUnity is not the only brand facing this problem. Pandemic accelerated the shift from brick and mortar stores to e-commerce, and there's a bunch of brands who are trying to figure out how to grow without hiring fancy growth agencies, digital agencies, hiring expensive data science teams, and or armies of designers and creatives to build innovative and captivating image and video ads. We also see that online video is emerging as the fastest growing ad format, and it's estimated that this year alone, the ad spend on video will reach $60 billion. Nevertheless, with all that in mind, visual content is still being produced and created manually without any quantitative guidance and deployed based on guesswork. So obviously, if you continue following this process, it is very hard to expect any success. I wanted to show you a quick example of what I believe is the future in creative for e-commerce using AI. I believe we will see personalized and AI-generated creative at scale, maybe in 5, maybe in 7, or maybe in even fewer years. James Bond movie cost about 250 million to produce. And what is fascinating is that the price of producing such a quality imagery is decreasing every single year. I believe we will very soon have a capability to actually generate movie quality visuals real time, meaning that for every single individual, that generated video will be or could be different, as illustrated in the slide, where potentially in the first 3 scenes they are very similar, except that the narrative, the text which the actor speaks is different. But also, if we have this capability to produce video at scale, we might well get different actors in different scenes playing in the same movie for a different individual or individual group. I think this is the future, and I think we will get to that future anywhere between 3 to 5 to 7 years. It's 3 to 5 to 7 years away. However, what is fascinating is that a lot of those things are happening already right now. Maybe at a slightly smaller scale, maybe not with the full-fledged movies, but maybe with the shorter clips and shorter text pieces. Already to date, it is possible to generate text which is difficult to distinguish from human written copy done by GPT-3 by OpenAI. In terms of imagery, brands are already collaborating with influencers, sending them what is called kind of a virtual or a digital sample. So in this example here, you see 2 sisters actually posing on the right with digital fashion items overlaid on them on the left. This way, they were able to, so to say, fit or try out a bunch of different digital goods. And also, the brands then could use those images as an advertising in their social media campaigns. Another example here is that we could go even further, and there are already ways to just generate imagery kind of out of thin air by providing AI a short description of a text we want to be generated. So in this case, we have an example of a teapot, and the actual quote I have used to generate this teapot was a teapot in the style of a Pikachu, and OpenAI DALL-E algorithm generated a long set of images, some of which are presented on the slide. The beautiful thing here is that in this case, unlike with influencer case, the amount of images generated is technically and practically infinite. And I believe the first step, generating kind of video from text, is almost upon us. Even right now, Snap is working on augmented reality way to try out different kind of fashion clothes. All that being real time as you film yourself on your phone camera. Imagine you had a way to generate those images. Let's say either by having a designer superimpose those kind of virtual clothes, or by having AI to generate those images, or just by having a designer to design a bunch of different product images. Think about what could happen if you could tell by just having an image how well the product will work for your audience. In this case, we have an example of iPhone accessory brand selling iPhone cases. They have been designing those cases and printing them at scale. And what they are doing here, and this is, by the way, them using Genius AI platform, they are using different designs. None of these designs yet have seen the light, but they are rather the imagination of their designers to already predict and understand how well these designs will perform in a marketplace. So what they are actually doing, they are trying to predict which product will deliver and work best if they were to sell it. This unlocks amazing efficiencies and opportunities because you do not need to produce every single of those designs to sell it in the first place, and you can try thousands, if not millions, of different variations of this product to see what will likely work best. So this is a very interesting capability, which again already exists right now. It can be used by any e-commerce brand. And combining it with ability to generate different images or work with different photos, shoot different images, unlocks a way for e-commerce brands to leverage AI to optimize their sales and produce the best working content. Lastly, there's another application which is already possible today for e-commerce brands as well, which is around creating video and creating millions of different videos rather, and selecting the best working video out of those samples. So again, if we have a way to select what image or what product will work best, then the next logical step is to try to generate as much of them as possible, as many as possible, and then shortlist best performing ones, best working ones. This is again a live application of Genius AI platform, and we see clients like CookUnity and others successfully use it to produce novel videos, which are not only novel and new, but also very likely high performing, because they are using a way to select out of many thousands and millions variations generated, which ones would work best. Last but not least, I wanted to wrap it up and thank everyone for your attention, and kind of fast forward a little bit into the future. Selected one shot out of the 4 possible, or maybe 4 million possible ones, where James Bond by John Connery says it's actually just a drink and it's shaken and not stirred. I'm really looking forward to the future where content and creative is generated by AI. I'm super excited to be here in Vilnius in Lithuania, actually building that future and taking it into the present. And also looking forward to see more and more brands, and at some point also individual creators, leveraging and benefiting from this technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Viktoras, for such an inspiration at the end of our day first on the main stage. And maybe I'll start with my first question. My first question is, so do you have a picture with Ashton Kutcher and Pharrell Williams?
Of course I do.
Yes, you do. Have you posted it on the social networks?
It's somewhere super secret, super private.
Okay, why would I? Okay. No worries, no worries. So, since you're the last person to be on this stage today, I'd like to ask your own perspective on what is actually the AI solution you're the most excited about, and you're so happy that is actually being developed, or we're moving there, or it is already available today.
So I'm super excited about all the solutions which are working on the intersection of artificial intelligence and content, and specifically digital content. So digital content, images or videos or text, are represented by bits and bytes, something which is manipulated by the machines. And it so turns out that machines are very good at manipulating those bits and bytes at a very, very large scale. So it is super exciting to see that intersection of what previously was kind of artistic domain, created by poets, writers, artists, and now having AI to analyze it, understand it, help humans understand it, and also obviously help humans create it. So that, for example, in the video case, you're not spending a lot of time, cutting and cleaning and re-editing the video, let's say the video we are recording right now, but rather set a specific theme, a specific mood, and then let AI work out the nitty-gritty details and editing and different variations, which it may well do for every single viewer of that video.
Okay, and since we are closing the track AI for business, we do have a lot of business-oriented people watching at us, and it is a common thing. It's like a very human thing to look at the technology like at something that, well, I'll figure it out how to use it later or in the future. And what would be your maybe just advice or final words for the businessmen that are looking? They do understand maybe the possibilities, maybe they do see some problems that could be solved, but they are not confident yet that they should start tomorrow. So why should they start tomorrow to look at the AI-based solutions?
They should really start today. It's still 3, 4, 5, 6 more hours. But in all seriousness, I think I spoke to a board member of a very large, private business here in Lithuania about AI a couple of years ago, and he was skeptical. He was saying, "Look, we tried AI, installed a chatbot on our website,
chatbot, okay,
and it didn't really change much." And I was trying to convince him and saying that, okay, chatbots are only a very tiny part of AI. AI works best when there are vast amounts of data, vast amounts of operational processes which it can optimize using the data, potentially new products which could be created using the data. So rather than just putting a chatbot as a way to maybe help out your support team, you should look at it much more holistically across all the departments, all the verticals, and maybe try to just first and foremost copy-paste what others are doing. And I saw, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago that person actually finished, I think, Stanford's AI course for executive.
Okay.
So he clearly is moving to the right direction, learned a lot more about AI, and for everyone else, I would certainly urge to look at the industry, look at what's happening, stay on top of the news, and certainly try to implement maybe a small pilot project first. See what results they get, and continue working on it. I think this is definitely the breakthrough technology, maybe together with space exploration. Not sure which one of the two is more breakthrough. I think AI is. So certainly encourage everyone to try.
So basically everyone, if they are interested, they should start with some part of education, participating in such event. Dear viewers, thank you so much for spending a day with us is the first step. And the second one should be finish some course, right?
Do something, start building something, finish courses, try to learn about it, yes.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your answers. And
thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Viktoras Jucikas, founder and CTO at Genius AI. Thank you.
Thank you.